And we have our next match of the night. Chad Gable making his way back to a Combat League ring. Bad News Boda's back. And Gable fired up.
A true master inside the ring and would do anything to reach Byron, yes. Shoosh! I want to stop doing that, Corey.
Dude, why does Byron Saxon always sound like a dweeb? So we're gonna find out how long a slow match is with these settings, and if it's dog.
This man is 6'3", 275 pounds of pure power. Perhaps the strongest man in WWE.
Oh, and of course, Bobby Lashley with the day ones right behind him. And look at Barnes and Sanders in the back. Where's Cedric Alexander at? Where you at, Cedric? I know he's probably lurking around somewhere too. And if not, you better believe he's getting prepared for the Rock and Roll Forever. Bobby Lashley said, this is a warm-up. Hurting Chad Gable is my warm-up for the Rock and Roll Forever. And look at Barnes and Marcus Sanders on the outside, man. They surrounding Chad Gable. This has really effectively become a 3-on-1. Not that Bobby Lashley needs the help. And you know, I think a lot of people underestimate Chad Gable. Well, I thought we lost Gable, and I needed a quick. I didn't want to do Wesley Bobby Lashley. And this crowd behind Chad Gable. And I think he's going to need a lot more than that tonight, standing across the ring from Almighty, but he ducks a clothesline and nope. Breaks that grab. I thought Gable had a lower wrist lock or waist lock, but does get a DDT. Gable going for a quick pin. And Lashley immediately gets that shoulder up. Lashley slamming, or Gable slamming Lashley's head to the canvas. And that waist lock again applied. Gable so far able to out wrestle Bobby Lashley and just aggressively on him. And another DDT. Gable he knows what's working. And oh, Bobby counters kick to the midsection. Big right hand, and now Lashley, no elbow from Gable. Gable breaking the grip. Capoeira kick from Chad Gable, taking Bobby Lashley off his feet. Gable looking great tonight. Oh, and a big knee from Lashley. Lashley breaking out of that grip, and now massive suplex from Bobby. And a stop from Lashley to follow it, a massive knee. And my goodness, Gable already bleeding. And that, again, locking around that bear hug from Bobby Lashley. Look at Barnes and Sanders. This look like sharks on the outside. And a bear hug locked in from Bobby Lashley. Gable nowhere to go. Gable might have to tap here. No, elbows from Gable. Gable breaks the hold. And claps the ears. And a beautiful takeover from Chad Gable. And a second one. It's a victory roll from Chad Gable, and it looked great. Go back to the basics. Big chops across that chest. And going after the throat. Gable jumping in there, and oh, beautiful neck breaker. And another right hand from Gable. Gable very aggressive, sending Lashley into the turnbuckle. Gable fired up, but no, and Lashley just lies in wait. I think Gable took a little too much time, eats a tackle. Gable kicks out, or a big kick in the midsection, and another missile drop kick. Dude, Chad without the yellow hair is whooping ass. I think that he might be okay without the dye, as Bobby Lashley rose to the outside and Gable actually following behind him, but that's where you want to be careful of the day ones. Day ones, look at them, slowly making their way over to Gable. And Gable keeping an eye on him, but oh, that distraction from Marcus Sanders, that allowed Lashley to kick Chad Gable off of him as he throws him into the timekeeper's area. Esteban Harp had to move out of the way there.
A true show of force there.
Lashley once again establishing himself as dominance personified.
And Lashley is not happy slamming Gable on the outside.
Referees count at 7. They need to
We're at a 7 count, and Lashley still having his fun.
Looks like Bobby is locked in on his opponent now.
This might be a count out. Jesus, the matches are going hella fast.
He's taking a moment to feel the crowd.
Bobby Lashley, another opponent that Lashley reigns dominant over. And Lashley actually beats Chad Gable with the Hurt Lock. And Lashley just swings Chad Gable around and lets go, dropping Gable to the canvas. Marcus Sanders and Barry Barnes get in the ring, and they stand over Gable. And the hothead Marcus Sanders lets loose, and he begins stomping on Gable. And Barry Barnes shrugs and joins in. Bobby Lashley smiles at the two and shakes his head, appreciating the venom in Cedric's proteges. And Bobby Lashley makes his exit from the ring and exits from the ringside by going through the floor area of the crowd, heading to the back. Marcus Sanders and Barry Barnes take their attack to the outside of the ring, where they drag him over to the timekeeper's table. And Sanders and Barnes powerbomb they powerbomb Chad Gable through the table. And Jesse Colt and Slim are finally able to come out, and they're able to chase off Sanders and Barnes. And they're able to, the reason why it took Colt and Slim so long is because referees were trying to prevent them from coming out to prevent a situation between the Day Ones and Colt and Slim from escalating. By the time Colt and Slim actually are able to get away from the referees, after the referees realized what just happened to Chad Gable, Barnes and Sanders are able to follow behind Bobby Lashley. And Colt and Slim go over to check on Chad Gable, and he grabs one of the referees, "Get a goddamn doc out here!" And what the referee starts calling for medical personnel. And Gable and Slim and Colt continue to check on Gable.